after the Rebbe says to increase in every single day more than the day before. The Rebbe lives, every day. After Purim, you're supposed to be even more happy than Purim, the Rebbe says, because every day you're supposed to add in Simcha. So anyway, whatever, should at least put a little Simcha in our life. This Shabbos is Parshas Zachar. It's Parshas Terumah. Tonight is Zion Adar, the yahrzeit and birthday of Moshe Rabbeinu. And Sunday is Tesla, the day the Frierdiker Rebbe came to America. So there's obviously a common theme in everything that's going on. But first of all, Zion Adar is a very special day in of itself. It's the day that Moshe Rabbeinu was born and passed away, but it's also it's a very focal point because the whole Yom Tov of Purim, which we're going to celebrate in a week from now, is really an outcome of Zion Adar. Haman makes a raffle. He does some type of, trying to divine, whatever you call it, figure out when he'll be able to have opportunity to rule over the Jewish people, to carry out his plan of Haman and his final solution. So when it falls out on Chodesh Adar, he's very happy. Why is he very happy? He says, my lottery fell on the day that Moshe Rabbeinu passed away. The leader of the Jewish people passed away. It's a negative sign for the Jewish people. It shows on the demise of the Jewish people. I will overcome them. So they told him from heaven, the Gemara says he didn't know that he was also born on that day. Not only he passed away, he was born on that day. And Kedai Haleida Shetachaper Al Yom HaMisa, the day that he was born takes away the effect of the day that he passed away. So Haman didn't know that he was born on that day, and he also didn't know, which is another interpretation, that the fact that he was born in that way has the koyach to overtake away the fact that he passed away. So Moshe Rabbeinu's etzem is synonymous with the etzem of the Jewish people. So if Moshe Rabbeinu thought that the shaykh to be a hefsek, that the fact that Moshe Rabbeinu passed away shows that Moshe Rabbeinu was vulnerable. Moshe Rabbeinu is vulnerable, the Yidden are vulnerable. The whole Yom Tov of Purim came about that the birthday of Moshe Rabbeinu, which is in the month of Adar, takes away the impact of his passing, which means that the eternity of Moshe Rabbeinu, which reflects the eternity of the Jewish people, transcends the fact that Moshe Rabbeinu passed away. And therefore, Haman wanted to Rahman al destroy the Jewish people. But Moshe Rabbeinu is eternal, the Yidden are eternal, he can't destroy them. So what's Takeb Pshat? Why? What was the mistake that Haman made? Chassidus explains that Moshe Rabbeinu's inyan is eternity. Moshe Rabbeinu's inyan of emes is eternal. Moshe Rabbeinu never passed away. In other words, obviously it says Yom HaShem Moshe passed away, but the inyan of Moshe is eternal. Even Begashmius, in every single generation, the neshama of Moshe Rabbeinu comes back through the Rebbeim, through the tzaddikim of the generation. So Moshe Rabbeinu, his passing, Haman thought he passed out it. He didn't realize that Moshe Rabbeinu is the Indian of Nitzchis, of truth, of eternity, of emes. Moshe Rabbeinu is the Indian of emes, Havaya Lo'elam, the truth, the eternity of the Eibishter. And Moshe Rabbeinu's passing is, so to say, is not a real change in any way, shape, or form regarding the essence of Moshe Rabbeinu. On the contrary, after his passing, he continues on in every generation, etc., etc., etc. So the whole Yom Tov of Purim comes through Moshe Rabbeinu, the same way, right? Mordechai was the one, Mordechai B'doirei, Moshe B'doirei, the Yom Tov of Purim came through Moshe Rabbeinu, through Mordechai, which was the Moshe Rabbeinu of his generation. So the eternity of the Jewish people gives us the koyach for na'apichu, to transform all negative things into light, comes through Moshe Rabbeinu. So this is also connected with, obviously, Tes Adar, right? Who was able to live in America, right? Living in the, where we're nishtanu ho'itim, times have changed k'vayach. We're living now in America, we're living in the 21st century, and things are different. Years ago, things that were accepted or were done, whether it was right or wrong, with today's day and age, we're living in a generation where everything has to be done, with certain limitation. You have to be, whatever it is, the Nekuda is that the Frierdiker Rebbe came to America and he said, America is nicht anders, America is no different. And it was a big chiddush because, there were G'dayli Yisrael, there were great great tzaddikim that were afraid to send people to America. They say a person once came to the Belz Zarav, Rabbi Adam from Belz. It's one of the, he was a holy man, and he wanted to go to America. So the way the story, if I remember correctly, the way the story goes, he said, come back to me in 3 days. Came back to him in 3 days' time. Rabbi Adam Bell said, I spiritually looked at America, And it became clear to me that you'll go there after some time. You're not going to keep Shabbos anymore. Like, in other words, Yiddishkeit wouldn't survive over there. So certain tzaddikim that were very reluctant to give permission to anyone to go to America. There were a few certain people that got brachas to come to, like J.J. Hecht, his Zayda. I think the Shinav Rav gave him permission, gave him a bracha to go to America. But in general, a lot of tzaddikim were reluctant to send people to America. Frierdiker Rebbe came and he said America is no different. And he had chassidim of the Frierdiker Rebbe that told him, Frierdiker Rebbe writes in the Sichos, that people, my best friends, so to say, they came to me and they said, you're making a mistake. We don't want, many people came and they thought they'll change America and they weren't successful. We don't want you to have high hopes. You don't have any depression afterwards. Just, give it up. Open up a shul, a beis medrash, a beis nishvas, but don't try to make a yeshiva, whatever it is. The Rebbe said, no, America is nicht standard. Right? And he prevailed. Why did he prevail? Because that's the inyan of Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu was emes, is truth. There's no ifs or buts or questions or that's the way it is. That's the way it is. And there's a famous word that the emes alafal, whatever the Rebbe said, in front of the truth all will fall. We mentioned before that sometimes somebody that's religious and ultra religious really means that people look at him as a fool. The Gemara says, Pasuk says, "V'sar meram mishtoilol." Gemara says one of the signs before Mashiach comes, the world will be so corrupt that someone that actually fears Hashem will be looked upon as a Meshuggah. Stay away from this guy. But the Rebbe said that somebody that means it with an emes, you can have somebody you see it vividly, somebody that means it 100%. So even the biggest skeptics, the biggest non-believers, when they come in the presence of such a person, they accept what he says. They melt. That's also a sign to see if someone is real or not, right? We all know. We might, do we remain unchanged? Emes means remain unchanged. Do we remain unchanged when we come in the presence of something that runs contrary to us, right? Do we feel that we have to adapt to the circumstances? Do we feel we have to adapt? The person senses it. So yeah, he might be interested in what we have to offer, but he doesn't lose himself. Why? Because we lost ourselves a little bit. Somebody who's emes means he believes in the Eibishter. He does whatever he has to do, where he is, whenever he is. He doesn't give any credibility to the halamas vestatum. He doesn't say, I'm here, I have to act differently. Such a person, because he means it with an emes, he doesn't change. He's going to affect someone. He's going to affect people that they are going to feel that they have to change. Right? This is the whole thing of Mordechai. The Mordechai said he's living in under Haman's rule. And that was the thing by the Purim Farbrengens. They say there's one thing you saw that the Rebbe like the Rebbe identified with and was speaking about it with a passion, was the idea of Yichrav lo yishtachava. Mordechai did not give in. Not only he didn't physically bow down to Haman, but what Haman noticed, the pasuk says, Haman noticed that Mordechai inwardly was not trembling from him. Not only that he physically was making a show of faith, of strength, Haman perceived that in the world of Mordechai, Haman doesn't exist. Haman has no chashivas whatsoever. He's not afraid of him, doesn't care about him. And Haman couldn't stand that. And that's from one hand what brought about Haman to make his decree. On the other hand, that's also what brought about Haman's downfall. Because it was the Mesiras Nefesh of Yidden that they didn't change, they're unbendable. That's the idea of Moshe Rabbeinu, the truth of Moshe Rabbeinu. Truth means you're unchangeable wherever you are. That is what causes us to be able to all things that try to stop us. Eventually, not only they fall, but they get transformed to good. So this is also the idea of Parsha Zocher. What's Parsha Zocher? This is the only Kriyas HaTorah, which is Min HaTorah. When we read the Torah, whenever you learn Torah, fulfilling mitzvah of the Torah, learning Torah, obviously, but the mitzvah of reading a certain passage of Torah, a specific passage of Torah, with is the mitzvah of reading Parsha Zocher, the Kriyas HaTorah that we have. According to some opinions, the only Kriyas HaTorah that we have that's we considered Min HaTorah is actually biblically is Parsha Zocher, which we read this Shabbos. What are we talking about? How Amalek came. And how was Amalek overcome? So it says, and Moshe Rabbeinu tells Yeshua, you should choose, B'char lanu, choose for us people. What means choose for us? So it says, Chassidus explains that Moshe, that Amalek is what? Amalek is chutzpah b'litak. Amalek is a king without a crown. Amalek is a klipa which questions and denies, it knows the truth, but it's not interested in accepting the truth. And it has a baseless chutzpah, a baseless ego, which is the worst type of ego, that it then tries to fight Eibishter himself, so to say. So Amalek represents the ultimate of evil. It's not evil that I want something, I have an addiction, I have anger management, I have a taiva, I have a desire, I have this, No, it's something much deeper. It's the essence of Klippa that wants to fight Eibish's existence because of its own ego, without any reason. To overcome that, you can't use Seichel. You can't sit and learn Chassidus from today till tomorrow. You can't, it's not going to help. In order to overcome Amalek, and Amalek also, he tries to cool us off, you know. We all have an Amalek coming to us. He says, don't get excited. You really believe Mashiach is coming? You really think it's happening? Yeah, you're a fool, you're a shaita. You're one of those other people sitting in the street corners. You really think this is true? You really think they should be blinded and closed-minded and this and that? And Amalek brings svekas, he brings questions. And Amalek, you know, he penetrates. He's you know, we're all vulnerable to Amalek. The only way you could overcome Amalek is through being connected to Moshe Rabbeinu. That's why Moshe Rabbeinu tells Yeshua, "B'char lanu anoshim," choose for us men. It's Moshe Rabbeinu who's the total opposite of Amalek. Moshe Rabbeinu is the level which there's no change. He doesn't allow any questions. He doesn't allow anything to change him. Moshe Rabbeinu is bittul atzmi. He's nullified to the Eibishter without any reason, completely, 100%. It's essential bittul. He has nothing, no ego whatsoever. No manifestation of self, you know, in any way, shape, or form. So Moshe Rabbeinu, bittul atzmi, the level which is completely devoid of any feeling of self, even a holy sense of self. Moshe Rabbeinu, a Rebbe, he's just a manifestation of godliness. That's all. That's the opposite of Amalek. That's what's able to overcome Amalek. And therefore, in order to overcome Amalek, you have to be connected with the Rebbe. It's not enough. A person could say, I could learn, I could do all good things. That's true. At the end of the day, you need to have a Rebbe with you. You have to be with the Rebbe, to put it better. So this is what Pasha Zachar is. To overcome Amalek, there's questions, there's doubts, maybe yes, maybe not. Amalek is sophisticated. It doesn't say he's not a what did they call the guy that doesn't believe at all? An atheist. He's not an atheist. No, he says, yeah, you know, sophisticated. You're right, but you know, don't take it with a grain of salt. Don't lose yourself. You know, don't let yourself really live with it. So how could you overcome Amalek? He's pretty, you know, you need to be 100% authentic to overcome Amalek. Because Amalek's way of getting into someone is if there's any 0.1% of that, you leave room for anything else but godliness, that not only godliness is real, Amalek could come. So the only way to overcome
he could exploit.
He could exploit it. Yeah, the only way to overcome Amalek is through something which is 100% authentic and real, and something there's no questions, if and buts. And that's only the Rabbeinu. That's what Moshe Rabbeinu represents. And every Yid has the ability, has the Moshe Rabbeinu within him, and every Yid has the ability to do that. So this is the lesson of Zayin Oder, Pasha Zachar, and Tes Oder. It's also Pasha's Terumah, of course, and talk about building the Mishkan, which building the Mishkan was the main avodah of Moshe Rabbeinu, and actually says that Amalek came before Matan Torah. Amalek was trying to stop, also before the Beis HaMikdash is built. Says that there's three things the Jewish people had to do when they came to Eretz Yisrael. They had to appoint a king, wipe out Amalek, and build a Beis HaMikdash. So there's an order. Appointing a king is Kabbalah Sil, setting the Eibish's kingdom. Wiping out Amalek is getting rid of the Klippas Amalek. And then you're able to build a Beis HaMikdash. In order for someone to build a Beis HaMikdash in his heart, that he should make himself a dwelling for Hashem, he first has to get rid of Amalek. That's what Moshe Rabbeinu gives us the koyach. And but the Nekuda is just to say regarding Parshas Terumah, the Rebbe speaks a lot about Parshas Terumah, about building a Beis Hamikdash, just building a Beis Hamikdash in your own heart. And it's also building a Beis Hamikdash in your house. The Rebbe was very into in the later Toshinim Zayin, 1987, following years, about making a Beis Chabad. Every children's room should have certain Sfarim. Every house should be a Beis Chabad. The Rebbe spoke a lot about the idea. You shouldn't just have a shul and a yeshiva, but your house, you should look at it as a Beis Chabad, as a house like Moshe Frank has, with Couch for Bregan here every Thursday night, So that's what the purpose of the house is. The Rebbe spoke by Smoli Sfarim, one of the 10 Mitzvahs, is to have a house full of Sfarim. The Rebbe said, what's the idea? To have a house full of Sfarim. The purpose of the house is to have the Sfarim. The purpose of the house is not to have, a place to sit down, relax, and enjoy the TV show, but a place to learn Torah. That's what the idea is. So, in order to... So the Rebbe speaks about Parshas Terumah, that it's making every single, your house, making it a Chabad, making it a place where where godliness is revealed. So just a thought that always hits my mind. I was once speaking to a Jew, the famous tzaddik, a holy Jew, is Drimnitzer. I'm sure people have heard of him or not. He was known as a B'mayla Mederach HaTeva, as they say, Balshemski, completely beyond nature. A big miracle worker, whatever it is. There's a Jew, I once met a Jew who knew him from Romania, from Rimnitz. So I asked him, could you tell me something about him? So he was a Russian Jew, Russian immigrant. He wasn't very frum or whatever. He was, certain things. So the way he described him to me was very eye-opening. He said that, that in his house, or anywhere near his house, you couldn't find anything that had nothing to do with the Eibishter. It was just even describing him that in his house, all that existed was the Eibishter. In his house or around his house. In other words, that's the idea of Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu means the godliness is 100% authentic. This is your whole life. And the idea of building a Mishkan also, in a certain sense, represents the whole thing that in your house, there's nothing else. This is where your house is. Your Mishkan, take all your possessions and build them a Mishkan for the Eibishter. This is what, in your house, when Mashiach should walk in, right? Some people have a chair and a table ready, but it also means Mashiach walks into your house. You shouldn't have to go hide your magazines, hide whatever it is. You should feel comfortable in the house. Also, the mikdash shechanti b'seicham. So the nekuda is that we should all merit to have a true redemption coming to Purim. Right? It says that when Mashiach will come, the ultimate Mechias HaMolek will only happen when Mashiach will come. Mashiach will wage the wars of Hashem. One of the wars of Hashem, Mashiach will wage is the war against HaMolek. Mashiach will wipe out any remnants of ifs, buts, questions, doubts, and he'll build the third Beis Hamikdash, and then we'll have back Moshe Rabbeinu, the eternity of the Jewish people will be revealed in His full glory, the Gashmis and Baruchnis, the coming of Mashiach now.
Also a shout out to Haram Mendel Katzman watching from Mexico. If you give him a bracha or something?
Yeah, Tzlach Rabim, whatever you're doing. And, yeah. Chaim.